Ken Verderami, and welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Steel Shooter, where we talk about all things and only things Steel Challenge. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. And today, I'm going to take a slight break from our continuing series where we're talking about each one of the individual stages and what's the best strategy for shooting them, and some training advice for the best way to train to become better at them. So we're halfway through the 8 stages, so this seems like a good time to take a break. We're going to talk about something a little bit different today. Still an important topic, something that doesn't get talked about all that much, that hopefully will help keep you on the path of being a better shooter. And then next week we'll pick up where we left off and work on through the last 4 stages that we haven't talked about yet. Okay, so what I want to talk about today is this topic that is one of the reasons you see good shooters are able to shoot so fast as compared to the more, what I'll just call the rank and file shooter, okay? And the concept here is target focus versus sight focus. So let's first define what that is for those of you that may not be familiar with what we're talking about. So sight focus is where you're using your sights in combination or by themselves. So either for difficult shots, if you're an iron sight shooter, you're using both the rear sight and the front sight and lining them up to help make the shot. Or if you are an optic shooter, using the red dot to determine when you're good and to line up on the target, pull the trigger. So, and if you think about it, when you're in a sight focus kind of sight picture, the sights are consuming your consciousness and your vision. So they may be blurry, a custom combination of a blurry sight and a really in focus one between front and rear if it's a hard one, or you may, if it's an easier target, they may actually both the front sight and the rear sight be blurry. Some combination of that, but you're concentrating on the sights as opposed to just concentrating on the target itself. In target focused shooting, you're aware that the sights on your gun are there, but you're not focused on or looking at or concentrating on the sights themselves. You're actually looking through or past the gun sights, and your focus is 100% on the target, which is behind the sights. And so what that turns out to be is the target is crystal clear and the sights are in some form of out of focus because you're not really paying attention to them as much as you are the target itself. The reason this is important in a speed shooting sport is when you are focused only on the target and not the sights and the target, you're able to shoot faster in both acquisition and therefore determination that you're on target and can pull the trigger, and so you can shoot targets in quicker succession. You shoot the stage faster, right? Your transitions are faster, your sight picture that you're okay to pull the trigger because you're on target, the gun is on target, is quicker, and therefore there's overall less time to shoot the stage. So target focus in general is a good thing. Now, it comes at a price though, right? Because the harder the target or the longer the distance the target is, the more difficult it is to shoot a target accurately with the target focus versus going back to classic sight focus, where even the most difficult long-range target is doable with a sight focus, whereas long-range targets are much more difficult to shoot target focus. Okay, so that's the general concept. What that tells you though is where you can get away with it, you should strive to shoot targets in Steel Challenge with a target focus versus a sight focus whenever possible. If you think about it, remember I did this once and I don't remember the exact number, but if you take all of the targets on a steel challenge stage, right, all 39 or all 40 targets on a steel challenge stage, and you average their distance, the average distance of a steel challenge target is under 15 yards. I think it came out to like 12 and a half or 13 and a half. So in relative terms, pretty close target. And most targets are either 12-inch circles or 18 by 24-inch rectangles. We don't have that many targets of the 40 targets in Steel Challenge, right, that are the 10-inch circles. So they're relatively easy targets as well. So that being said, that leads you to an inevitable conclusion that maybe you should be trying to shoot most targets on a stage with a target focus. And in fact, that's really what this turns out to be. If you want to learn to shoot steel challenge much faster than you're currently doing it and you're stuck right now, you want to try to change your sighting methodology and try to shoot most targets with a target focus. All right. This is a learning process here as well, right? You're not going to start out and go to pendulum and shoot 18-yard targets with a target focus on your first day if you've never done this before, right? You're going to struggle with that. But on a stage like Roundabout, on a stage like Smoke and Hope, there is no reason that you shouldn't be able to shoot the entire stage with all 5 targets on both stages with a complete target focus and never do a sight focus. So if you're currently shooting those stages with any sight focus, try switching 100% to target focus when you shoot the stage, and I think you'll see an immediate improvement once you learn how to shoot with a target focus versus a sight focus. And it does change, it requires a mental shift in how you approach the shooting. You have to train yourself to look through the sights at the target and really focus on getting the target in focus as opposed to getting your sights in focus and just seeing the target behind it. It's really a shift in how you think. When you put the gun up on a target and you look, you want to be looking for the target and just kind of in the background, if you will, in periphery, think about the sights, look through the gun sights at the target. I will tell you, if you're shooting with an optic, it's actually more difficult than it sounds, because with an optic, it's really hard to defocus that red dot and look at the target. Now, people who shoot optics and are the elite open shooters, they shoot almost 100% target focus, because that's one of the reasons that shooting with an optic is so fast compared to iron sights, is because it allows you to shoot with target focus once you train yourself how to do it. But I will tell you, when you first start out, your eye kind of focuses on that dot and it looks at that dot crystal clear and you're seeing the target behind it, as opposed to shifting that where you're looking at the target and the red dot is just kind of in your awareness. It's not something your eye tends to focus on. And one of the ways you want to try to do that, or what worked for me, was try to focus on some specific thing on the plate that'll help you focus the plate and get it in razor sharp focus. I like to look at the edges of the plate to start out. That's a hard, difference between background and foreground, something you can get your eye focused on to try to bring that into sharp focus and help you focus on the target and not on the sight. And then after your first run, you got a black mark and then 2 black marks and then 3 and then 4, you could pick out one of the black hit marks on the target and try to focus your attention 100% on that and bring that into sharp focus, and then you will see your target, your sights kind of step into the background and almost blur like while you're focusing all your attention on the target on a specific black spot on that target. So give that a try. It's something that it won't happen very quickly, right? It's going to take a lot of repetition, but when you get into training, try to, on purpose, shoot an entire training session with a target focus, right? Set up your training session. Don't set up a target past 15 yards, move in close to make it easier when you're starting, and then try to shoot your entire training session with every single shot 100% target focus to try to get out of the habit of always shooting with a sight focus. And then as you train yourself, get comfortable with target focus shooting, you can then start to go back and lengthen the distance or put in short targets and long targets and practice shifting back and forth. And as you continue to train yourself, you should be able to step out the distance that you can shoot a target at target focus, and eventually, hopefully, you can get most of all the stages and most of the targets on the stages and shoot them with a target focus, so you never have to shoot with a sight focus. And once you do that, you'll see your times are dramatically different because you're now shooting almost 100% target focus. All right, so there is one way you could try. This is going to be an unconventional, probably not for everybody, and maybe it's not for most people, but I'm going to suggest it. It's something that I've been doing over time. I kind of stumbled into it, but I do see that it helps me do target focus shooting. And so if you get the opportunity, you might want to give this a try. Maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does, but it certainly worked for me. And that is video arcade shooting games. So hear me out here before you turn this off and go, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. So my favorite arcade game of all time is 1984 Atari Area 51 Site 4. Okay. If you've seen it in my room here, in fact, let's put it right over there. I actually I bought a refurbished version of that, and I have that. And it's a gun shooting game where you have a gun and you point it at the screen, and it's got a little optic inside the gun, and you're able to shoot targets on the screen. Well, one thing you discover really quickly when you do video arcade shooting games is that it's 100% target focus. It's the only way to be able to exploit those games is you can't look at the sights and try to pick up targets. It doesn't work, right? Everything is moving on those games, but there's no static anything. Things are flying around, things are on the ground, lots of movement, and so the only way to do that is by looking at the screen and not at your gun sight. And so very quickly, if you do a lot of video shooting games like Area 51, you learn target focus because there's no other way to get through the game. And that is one of the things that helped me become a better target focused shooter is spending a lot of time, believe it or not, doing that. So I get it, not everybody's going to go out and buy, these games are not cheap if you want to buy one, or you got an arcade, you're going to go visit an arcade and hang out with 12 and 13-year-olds, putting quarters in a machine playing shooting games. But I will tell you, it is an interesting way to learn how to shoot with a target focus versus a sight focus. And like dry fire, it's, if you have one of your own games, it's free. I can sit here and turn on my game and play for literally hours at a time and shoot thousands and thousands of rounds, and it doesn't cost a penny. And I'm all with an eye of being target focused the whole time. So if you get an opportunity to do that, or if you happen to have one of these games, you like video games, give that a try. You might be surprised on what an interesting training technique that is to help you become a better shooter. Remember, I've talked about this before, experimentation is always a good thing in shooting. This is an experimentation method to try to learn new things. Even if you do it once and you go, it's not for me, you might still learn something that you can apply to your regular gun in hand, dry fire and live fire techniques. All right, so we're going to leave it at that, but the main point here is you want to become a target focused, you want to become a shooter who shoots with a target focus most, if not all the time when you're shooting, and you will see you will become a much faster shooter when you target focus shoot versus sight focus shoot. So we're going to leave it at that, and then next week we'll pick up again with the individual stage discussion like we've been doing for the last month. So remember, if you're interested in my dry fire training system to help you train to do these kind of things, head on over to my website, steelshootbanners.com. We have all 8 stages in banner form. We have 40 plus USPSA training drills in banner form. We've got 15 classifier stages in banner form. So if you're a USPSA shooter or a steel town shooter, we got training banners for you for dry fire for either of those sports. And we have the 3 official Glock Shooting Sports Federation stages in banner form as well if you like to shoot Glock competitions. So go to the website, check all that out. Remember, I mentioned this last week before as well. If you're going to Area 4 Steel Challenge Championship, they have a dry fire division approved by headquarters for the first time. And so if you sign up for that division and you shoot that division and you're interested in my dry fire system, I'm giving a 10% discount on a complete 8-stage banner system to anybody who competes in that division. If you're going to do that, send me an email, steelshootbanners@outlook.com, that you're going to shoot it. Before you order, I'll send you a special coupon code that you can order with, and you get a 10% discount off the price of a complete 8-stage system. All right, guys. Also, don't forget my 2 books, Do You Feel the Need for Speed and The Game Within the Game, the only 2 shooting books on the market dedicated 100% to the sport of steel challenge. They can be found on Amazon Books, of course. And remember, as always, slowing down is never the right answer. Never. You need to learn to see faster.